Right, today, Charles Darwin, The Origin of Species, Chapter 10, on the imperfection of the geographical record, on the absence of intermediate varieties at the present day, on the nature of extinct intermediate varieties, on the number, on the lapse of time, as inferred from the rate of denudation and deposition on the lapse of time as estimated by years on the points of our phonological corrections on the intermediate meetings of geological informations on the denudation of granitic areas, on the absence of intermediate varieties in any one formation, on the sudden appearance of groups of species, on the sudden appearance in the always known fossil strata, antiquity of the habitable earth. In the sixth chapter, I enumerated the chief objections which might be justly urged against the views maintained in the volume. Most of them have now been discussed, namely the distinctness of specific forms and their not being branded together by innumerable transitional links. In a very obvious difficulty, I signed reasons why such links do not commonly occur at the present day, under the circumstances apparently most favorable for their presence, namely on an extensive and a continuous area with graduated physical conditions, I am able to show that the life of each species depends in a more important manner on the presence of the already defined organic forms than climate, and therefore that the really governing conditions of life do not graduate any quite insensibly like heat or moisture. I enjoyed also to show that intermediate varieties from existing in lesser numbers, that the forms which they connect will generally be beaten out and exterminated during the course of further modification and improvement. The main cause, however, of innumerable intermediate links now occurring everywhere throughout nature depends on the very process of natural selection through which new varieties continually take places of and supplant their present forms. But just in proportion as this process of extermination has acted on an enormous scale, so much the number of intermediate varieties which have formerly existed to be truly enormous. Why then is not the geological formation and every term for such intermediate links geology assure doesn't reveal any such finely graduated organic chain, And this perhaps is the most obvious and serious objection which can be urged against the theory. The explanation lies as believing the extreme imperfection of the geological record. In the first place, it should always be borne in mind. A sort of intermediate forms must, on the theory, have already existed. I have found it difficult when looking at any two species to avoid picturing to myself forms directly intermediate between them. But this is the wholly false view. We should always look for forms intermediate between each species and a common but non-progenitor, and each species and a common but non-progenitor and each species. And the progenitor will generally have different for some respect from and its modified descendants. To give a simple illustration, the frontal and upper visions are both descended from the log vision. If we process all of the intermediate varieties which have ever existed, we should have an extremely close series between both and log vision, but we should have no varieties directly intermediate between the frontal and the portal. No, for instance, combining a tail somewhat expanded with crop somewhat enlarged, the characteristic features of these two birds moreover have become so much modified that if we have no historical indirect evidence regarding their origin, it would not have been possible to have determined from a moral comparison of their structure with that of the rock vision. Cerevia, whether they have descended from the species or from some allied forms such as Thinus. So with natural species, if you look to forms very distinct, for instance, to the horse and pair, we have no reason to suppose that like direct intermediate between them ever existed. But even each and an unknown common present, the parent, common parent will have had in its whole organization much general resemble to the tapir and to the host body at some points of structure may have been disparate considerably from both, even perhaps more than they differ from each other. As in all such cases, we should be unable to recognize the parent form of any two or more species, even if we closely compare the structure of the parent with all its modified descendants, unless at the same time we have a nearly perfect chain of intermediate links. It is just possible by the theory that one of two living forms might have descended from the other. For instance, a horse from a tapir, in this case direct intermediate link will have existed between them. For such a case, links will have existed between them. But such a case would imply that one form had remained for a very long period unaltered. These to its descendants had undergone a vast amount of change, and a principle of competition between organism and organism, between child and parent, render this a very rare event for in all cases the new and improved forms of life tend to supplant the old and improvement forms. By the theory of natural selection, all living species have been connected with the parent species of each genus, but difference is not greater than we see between the natural and the domestic varieties of the same species at the present day. And these parent species now generally extinct from in their time being similarly connected with more ancient forms as on backwards, always converging, converging converging to the common ancestor of each great class so that the number of intermediate and transitional links between all living and extinct species also have been inconce- inconceivably great, but assuredly, if this theory be true, such have lived upon the earth